Hello and welcome to 4P at CC, the paralegal presentation puppet players brought to you by Barbara Bush at Cypress Creek, a branch of the Harris County Public Library. This week we bring you part 4 of Merchant of Venus. The story you are about to hear is a puppet show. The names have not been changed because why bother? The participants are puppets. They are also characters from a Shakespeare play, some tweaked nearly beyond recognition. Both parties have agreed to the terms of a contract, and pursuant to the terms of that contract now appear here in the Venusian's court. This is the merchant Antonio. Antonio owes Shylock 5,000 pound shares of oxygen, but can't pay up. This is the merchant Shylock. Shylock demands all of Antonio's oxygen, leaving Antonio nothing to breathe. This is our judge, a prickly fellow, the lawgiver of the planet Venus. Why do we have an announcer? Who hired an announcer? Oh, never mind. Shylock, why don't you have a lawyer? The puppet show couldn't afford one. We spent all our money on the announcer. So, why do you demand that Antonio not be able to breathe? What good does that do you? To bait fish withal. That made more sense when Shakespeare wrote it. Antonio is competition. Antonio outbids me on some contracts, steals my business, ruins my opportunities, costs me money. Antonio is my competition, the serpent who has stung me. Who allows a serpent to sting them twice? Can I just let Antonio breathe some of my oxygen? It doesn't matter where Antonio gets oxygen. That oxygen immediately belongs to me. So if you give him oxygen, he's not allowed to breathe that either. Antonio, you are represented by Portia? Hello, Your Honor. I am Portia, a time-traveling lawyer. You are making us go through this trial instead of just taking all of Antonio's oxygen and giving it to Shylock. Why should Antonio not be held to the terms of his contract? So, in ancient Australia, there was a religious order called the Sisters of Mercy. They had all these signs around their convent that said trespassers will be prosecuted. Anyway, they used to make tea using the tears of koala bears, but it was always lumpy. Why was it lumpy? Because the koala tea of mercy is not strained. Do you have a point? I do. So, the contract states that Antonio must provide the quantity of oxygen which, as established in previous acts, Antonio does not have. The contract does not, however, give Shylock the right to kill Antonio. Therefore, since taking the last breath of oxygen will kill Antonio, if Shylock does take it, then Shylock will become guilty of murder. But I'm not taking the oxygen. Antonio is giving the oxygen to me as outlined in the contract. It is Antonio, or whatever officer of the law collects the oxygen, that will in fact be the one ending Antonio's life, and nowhere in the law are merchants required to provide oxygen to people, even if those people will die without it. If we are not legally required to save those lives, why would I be legally required to save this one? Yeah, that's a pretty good point. Well, that's a stupid law. Who made that law? I was introduced at the beginning of this act as the lawgiver. Why would you... Look, throughout history, laws have had to weigh priorities. People get used to all kinds of laws which sacrifice a few lives to give a lot of people greater convenience. When you increase speed limits, you're doing so knowing you're going to cause some deaths. But look at the case before you. This is obviously cruel. It may be cruel, but it is also inevitable. The rules are set to bring the greatest rewards only to the most ruthless merchants. If I am not utterly ruthless, then I will fail and more ruthless merchants will succeed in my place. These are the rules your government has put in place. It's not my fault our society has been built on ruthless competition. I am only doing what it takes to win, and whoever wins would have done the same. Yeah, I can't argue with that. And I kind of need to end this hearing before someone realizes this is partly my fault. So, the law is clear. Shylock and Antonio agreed to a contract. Antonio will provide all oxygen to Shylock. But, my husband. But, my friend. But, my... Wait, I don't have any connection to Antonio, do I? I don't know. I have trouble keeping track. Which character am I again? Oh, you're Shylock's daughter, the one who's marrying Antonio. Or was marrying Antonio. And I think I work for Bassanio now? Portia, isn't there anything you can do? Well, the judge has given the ruling. But how can that be legal? Well, that's just it. It's the law. The law is always legal, even if it isn't right. Governments are instituted among people. They make laws. In a democracy, we can choose who makes the laws and elect people who will make better laws in the future, but right now, the law is what it is. But you're a time traveler. Well, I am a time traveler. I can't change the law, what the law is now, but I can go back and talk to the people who will choose lawmakers that write that law. Is that how time travel works? Well, depends on who's writing the story. So far, 4P at CC hasn't been very clear about how time travel works and what is and isn't possible. So, how do you do that? I guess I could write a puppet show, and at the end, I can turn to the audience and say, if you think everyone should have the right to breathe, if you want a world where people help each other instead of being mean, then elect leaders who look out for the people, who make laws based in mercy and compassion. And that's it? Well, yeah, basically. How does that help Antonio? Well, if people in the past build a better future for themselves and for everyone, then Venus will have better laws now, and this court case will have ended differently. Or better yet, won't have to happen at all. So, how will we know that it worked? Well, the audience has been watching us. Maybe now we have to start watching them. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, keep on reading.